Hey, what if I told you that that heavy, sinking feeling you've been calling shame might actually be anxiety in disguise? Today, we're diving into the subtle yet powerful distinction, toxic shame versus anxiety, and how mislabeling one for the other might be keeping you from healing. Let's get started. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast. I'm your host, Jason. You can catch us on all your favorite platforms. That's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. You can also listen to episodes on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and our home on Podbean. Also, you can check out the book, The Ways of Compromise. It's out on Kindle, it's paperback. Anywhere you can get your books, go get it. Folks, we've separated so far from one extreme to another. There used to be a point where we used to meet in the middle. It's time to get back there. And that's what the Ways of Compromise is all about. Go check it out. And we'd love to hear from you. Please, if you're interested in being a guest or contributing, give us a shout out on email. That's catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. Catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. Join the community and be part of something we hope is truly transformative. Welcome to episode 131. It's not toxic shame, it's anxiety. 4 ways to self-soothe. Okay, so let me start with a quick story. A friend of mine, we'll call her Myra, texted me after a work meeting saying, I feel like I embarrassed myself. I talk too much. I'm cringing just thinking about it. And I asked her, do you feel ashamed? And she paused. Yeah, but also I feel like I just want to crawl out of my skin. Let's sit with Myra's story for a moment. She just left a meeting. She's replaying every word she said like a mental highlight reel, except it doesn't feel like a highlight. It feels like a blooper reel. Now, if you've ever had a moment like that, where your brain becomes a courtroom and you're both the defendant and the judge, you're not alone. That post-event spiral is incredibly common. But what's less common is knowing what emotion you're actually feeling. So I ask her, do you feel ashamed? She paused. Yeah, but also I just feel like I want to crawl out of my own skin. That pause, that's where the truth lives. We often confuse shame and anxiety because they wear similar outfits. They both show up with tight chest, racing thoughts, and deep desire to disappear, but they're not the same. Shame is about identity. It's the belief, I'm bad. Anxiety is about anticipation. It's the fear something bad is going to happen. And here's why it matters. When we mislabel anxiety as shame, we treat ourselves like we're broken when we're really just scared. Imagine going to a doctor with a sprained ankle and being treated for a heart attack. That's what happens when emotionally we confuse these two. Anxiety is often a response to unmet emotional needs. It's not a flaw. It's a signal. This quote is like flashlight in a dark room. It reminds us that anxiety isn't a character defect. It's communication. It's your nervous system saying, hey, something doesn't feel safe. Can we check in? But instead of listening, we often shame ourselves of feeling anxious. We say things like, I should be over this. Why am I so sensitive? Everyone else seems fine. What's wrong with me? And that internal dialogue, it doesn't soothe. It stings. I know I've felt it. I'm sure you have too. When we treat anxiety like shame, we respond with self-punishment instead of self-support. We isolate, we overanalyze, we try to fix ourselves instead of comforting ourselves. But what if we flip the script? What if, Instead of asking what's wrong with me, we ask what's trying to protect me. Because anxiety is protective. It's your brain's way of scanning for danger, either real or imagined. And when we meet it with compassion instead of criticism, that's when we start to heal. So here's a reframe I often use, and maybe it'll help you too. We say, this isn't shame. This is anxiety. And anxiety is asking for care, not correction. Now, it's a small shift in language, but it's a massive shift in energy. It moves us from judgment to curiosity, from isolation to connection. So next time you feel that post-meeting spiral or the social hangover or that pit in your stomach after sending a risky text, pause and ask yourself, is this shame or is this anxiety? Am I judging myself or am I afraid of being judged? What unmet need might be speaking through this feeling? Because when we name it right, we can meet it right. And that's where healing begins, my friends. Here's another one. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, over 30% of adults will experience an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives. That's nearly 1 in 3 of us. 1 in 3 of us will experience an anxiety disorder. So if you've ever felt like your brain is a browser with 47 tabs open and you can't find the one playing the music, yeah, you're in good company. Okay, so you've realized it's not toxic shame, it's anxiety. Now, that's a powerful insight, but now comes the real work. How do you soothe yourself when anxiety hijacks your nervous system and makes you feel like you're spiraling out of fucking control? Well, let's explore 4 evidence-backed techniques that can help you regulate, reconnect, and restore your sense of safety. All right? You ready to begin? Let's start off with number 1. Number 1 is name it to tame it. Name it to tame it. I'm not broken. I'm anxious. This phrase isn't just comforting, it's neuroscience in action. When you label your emotions, say, I'm feeling anxious, you're activating your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for resonating reason and regulation. At the same time, you calm the amygdala, which is the brain's fear center. This process helps you shift from emotional overwhelm to clarity. Dr. Daniel Siegel, who coined the term name it to tame it, explains that naming emotions integrates the brain's different regions, enhancing emotional regulation. Research shows that people who label their emotions experience reduced emotional intensity and improved decision making. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. You can finally see what you're dealing with. Imagine you're about to give a presentation and your heart's racing. Instead of spiraling, you pause and say, I'm feeling anxious because I care about doing well. That simple act, the simple act of naming, gives you space to breathe and respond with intention. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2 is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. Now, you may have heard of something like this before. This is sensory-based method, is a go-to tool for therapists and trauma specialists. It works by anchoring you in the present moment, where your anxiety thrives, or where it can't thrive, I'm sorry, right? 5 things you can see. 4 things you can touch. 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. one thing you can taste. According to Very Well Mind, this technique activates neural pathways associated with attention and awareness, interrupts anxiety loops, and engages the parasympathetic nervous system. I hope I said that right, which calms the body. Parasympathetic nervous system. There you go. Which calms the body. I got it on the second time. An example of this, like, you're in a crowded room and suddenly feel overwhelmed. You ever had that happen? You can start the exercise. I see a blue vase, the clock, the window, the plant, the notebook. By the time you reach the one thing you can taste, your nervous system is shifted from panic to presence. It brings you back to focus. Just give it a try. Okay, let's talk about number 3. And this is one I work on daily. Self-compassion over self-criticism. Talk to yourself like someone you love. Brene Brown. I love her work. She is absolutely amazing. Talk to yourself like someone you love. When anxiety hits, your inner critic often gets louder, but research shows that self-compassion is a powerful antidote. Dr. Kristen Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion research, found that people who practice self-compassion experience lower levels of anxiety, depression, and stress, and higher levels of resilience and emotional well-being. Self-compassion activates the caregiving system in the brain, reducing cortisol and increasing oxytocin. Example, oxytocin. Oxytocin? I hope I'm saying that one right. If I'm not, you know what? Shoot me an email at catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com and let me know. OXYTOCIN. I believe I said it correctly. But if I didn't, let me know. Okay, let's get back into it. Like, here's an example of it. You mess up a work task and your mind starts spiraling. This is so stupid. I've been there so many times. Trying to put together a proposal for somebody and it's the wrong information and then having to go and do it again. Instead of calling yourself stupid, how about saying, I made a mistake, I'm human, and what do I need to do right now to feel supported? When you do that shift doesn't just feel better, it's biologically healing you. All right? That's number 3. All right? Here's number 4. Move your body gently. Move your body gently. You don't need intense workouts to regulate anxiety. Gentle movements like walking, stretching, even shaking out your arms like I'm doing right now. They can help discharge anxious energy. Dr. Peter Levine, creator of somatic experiencing, emphasized that trauma and anxiety are stored in the body. Research shows that completing interrupted survival responses, like fight or fight or freeze, through movement can restore your nervous system balance. I believe that. I believe that true as well. I believe that it is stored in the body. I believe that's one of the reasons why I got my cancer. Just keeping all the negative inside. I just let it building and constantly being negative with yourself and never loving the person inside you. I'm sure we've all been there sometime. Let me know if you've been there. Shoot me an email at catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. Let's get back into it. A randomized controlled trial found that somatic experiencing significantly reduced PTSD symptoms, anxiety, and somatic complaints in trauma survivors. So that's another one, moving your body gently. Okay, so those are the 4 techniques. They aren't just trendy. They're scientifically validated tools for emotional regulation. They help you meet anxiety with presence and not panic, with care, not criticism. So the next time anxiety shows up dressed as shame, remember this. Name it to calm your brain. Ground yourself in the now. Speak kindly to your inner world. Speak kindly to your inner world, people. Love that person inside of you and move gently to release what's stuck. Because healing isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. So, before we go, let's give you an actionable exercise, okay? It's called the anxiety check-in exercise. So, the next time you feel that tightness in your chest or that pain in your pit of your stomach, pause and ask yourself the following, okay? What am I afraid might happen? What am I afraid of? What might happen? Is this shame or is it anxiety? Is this shame or is this anxiety? Finally, what would soothe me right now? What would soothe me right now? Write it down. No judgment, just curiosity. People, remember, you're not broken. You are not broken. You're not weak. You're just human. And your nervous system is doing its best to protect you. Well, that's it for today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need it. Like and subscribe to our podcast for more motivational content. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok for even more inspiration. Thank you for joining us on episode 131. We look forward to seeing you next time for episode 132. Go be great.